Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to Pop Culture Podcast, episode 62. I'm Jay.
I'm Adrian, and we are back for another week of comic books, beer, movies, TV, and for those of you watching, you can see Jay and I both cleaned up. We're both wearing collared shirts. It's historic.
I wear one every day, though. I usually just change before I come.
I feel most days if I'm wearing pants, I view it as a win. The collar, that's hit or miss. Nope.
Fair enough.
I actually have a meeting tomorrow. I need to wear a collared shirt. So I think I'm just going to wear this to bed and
Yeah,
wake
no,
up
you're-
in it.
you're
That
good.
way it's seasoned.
Starch it before you go to bed, and then it just stays.
I was just going to cologne, but yeah, so it's seasoned.
Yeah,
Because I don't take my weekly showers till Friday.
right.
So,
Sure.
okay, makes sense.
There you go.
So what are we drinking today, buddy?
We are drinking this Sumerian Explosion?
Eruption.
Eruption. I was close. Double IPA, which I had 2 nights ago.
You did.
And I was surprised you hadn't tried this one yet because you're the one that's been telling me about this brewery.
I do like this brewery.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. It's located in Woodinville, and you guys have heard us discuss Woodinville is losing Red Hook, which is going back to Ballard at a smaller location, getting Rainier, which I'm not a fan of. Sumerian is actually, they're doing a lot of cool things that Red Hook used to do. So now they're
Okay.
doing movie nights.
Oh,
since
nice.
Red Hook's not doing that stuff. So they're kind of up and coming brewery. I do like them. Very affordable, very good beer. So let's try the Eruption Double IPA. It's definitely IPA-ish.
It is.
I like it though.
So to me, when I had this the other night, I sent you a message. And I'm like, it is much less hoppy than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
My experience with most IPAs, especially double IPAs, have just been very, very, very hoppy. This one, like you definitely get the hop profile, but it's a little bit more mellow to me, and it almost tastes like there's a citrus undertone to it.
There is,
So
for
you've
sure.
got this really clean, fresh finish.
It's a grapefruit finish. It's nice. When I got the growler of it, the woman who seems to always be there, at this point I'm guessing she's the owner.
Sure.
Or it's her and her husband or whomever. When I ordered, she goes, "Oh, that's my favorite."
Oh, nice.
I go, "Oh, really?" She goes, I like the citrus, and it's actually one of our lower alcohol content ones, so I can drink more of them.
Nice.
And I'm like, "Oh, look at you go."
Yeah.
So, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. Funny story. So I was at the pub, whatever, I don't even know, bar and grill with the wife the other night, and that's where I got this. And you've been into this place.
Yes.
You know, they have the digital reader board of their tap list.
How accurate is that?
Oh, it's super accurate.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Then yes, I have seen that.
But I just happened to glance up and see it, and I saw Sumerian, and I thought it said Superman. And this was like right as it was about to change. So I'm like, wait, did that say? Is there some brewery called Superman? Is that what this is? And then it flipped back to that. I'm like, oh no, it says Sumerian. Oh wait, Sumerian. I'm gonna order that anyways, even if it's not Superman.
Oh, for sure. We had their pale ale together as well
Yes.
at the Super Bowl. Both enjoyed that. I like this. We should go to the brewery sometimes.
Yeah.
They charge $4 a pint at the brewery.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. So let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Also, what we should do? Let's talk about a little TV.
Let's do that.
What have you been watching, bud?
So, I have not watched a large number of shows, but I did watch a lot of these shows.
Okay, so you binge on a select few.
Yes.
I'm
So,
listening.
I finished Happy Endings.
Oh, I haven't even finished the end of season 3 yet.
Oh, I win then.
Yeah, you do. Congratulations.
Hilarious show. Like, we've talked about this a couple times now. It's so many good one-liners that, like, their writing room must have just been, like, high all the time coming up with good jokes. But, yeah, it's enjoyable. I was actually kind of sad to see it end.
Does it leave you on a cliffhanger? I don't remember if
No.
they knew they were ending, so they wrapped it up or not.
I would say that it's wrapped up enough
Okay.
that I wasn't like, well, damn, I don't know what happens with that.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to see what you think of it when you finish it.
Hopefully this weekend.
Yeah. So I finished that. What else did I watch? Where's my list here? Watched all of Fuller House.
Oh, okay. I watched the first episode, and that's all I watched.
So So Jess had a client over Friday night for a very, very long hair service. So we're like, well, let's just throw something on. She's like, have you guys started Fuller House? And we're like, no. She's like, I kind of watch it. Let's just watch it. So we hit play. 6.5 hours later, we finished it.
Like the first one is bad. Like
Really?
really
Oh,
bad.
see, I loved the show the entire way through.
Really?
And here's why. And this leads into a bit of news that I'm a little concerned about. 95% of the whole run is just them making fun of all of these things from the original show. It doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No, so the whole thing is very much a callback to everything before. The outfits, the songs, like the jokes, like everything.
Every single catchphrase. Like in one of the episodes, they're like, what would Michelle say if she was here? And then they go into like, hey, mister, like all the stupid little things.
Yeah.
So I found that hilarious because I'm like, all they're doing is making satire of themselves because they know it's kind of a joke.
Right.
And then the bad thing that I found out today is that they're doing another season.
Oh, yeah. Season 2's art. Here's the thing, though. Season 1 is not getting good reviews.
And so a lot of the things I've been reading online, and this is what drives me crazy, is it's people like, this is stupid. This is just like the original show. Or like, I didn't like the original show, and I think this is dumb. Like, they should have made it different. I'm like, one, if you didn't like the original
Why
show,
are you watching the
why do you
sequel?
think a
No.
reunion show is going to be any different? And two, just go fuck yourself. Like,
No. It's true. They should go fuck themselves. I watched the first episode. The laugh track was kind of bothersome to me.
I think it was because I feel like modern TV's almost gone away from the laugh track.
It has.
So to have that brought back is a little weird.
So and that was kind of the thing that about it. Obviously, I get it that it was a callback and they were going to kind of re-hit where they hit. I also wanted them to see it go in different places, but I feel like it's not. That it is.
It does and it doesn't. So I mean,
I get you get the new characters and the kids. And
yeah. So you're definitely dealing with things in this that you didn't deal with in the original. So like for instance, the middle sister,
DJ. No,
Stephanie. Like it delves a lot into the fact that after the first show, she like went and she was just in a drug infused rave for like 10 years.
Well, that's what she did in real life.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something that they definitely wouldn't have explored on the original show.
Okay.
So there's definitely things that are in there that you wouldn't have seen in the original, and you see different character dynamics than what you did in the very, very, very wholesome Full House. But yeah, it's just making fun of itself. And I think that's the problem. How are they going to do a second season?
Again, no, and I don't know. Like, I get they were making fun of themselves, but like the little boy who's obsessive about cleaning and all that stuff, like, I get that it's all a nod to the previous season, but it all, how am I trying to think of phrasing this? It got really old for me really fast. And I wanted to see something new.
Sure.
And I didn't. With that said, pilot episodes are always rough. So I'm willing to give it 2 or 3 more.
Okay, which I definitely encourage you to do.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to.
Yeah. So yeah, we watched. Literally, we sat down at like 5 and watched all 13 episodes.
Wow.
And when we finished that 13 episode, I'm like, I love binging TV, but I feel gross right now.
There are a couple of shows that actually I have to talk about that
Yeah.
I've been binging. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last show I watched was L.A. Complex.
I'm not familiar with that.
So, I added it to my queue because one of the stars from Degrassi is in it, Cassie Steele, and she plays a girl from Toronto who moves to L.A. to try to become an actress, and she's in this like motel essentially, and everybody in the motel are people that like came to LA to try to become famous.
Okay.
So she's trying to be an actress. There's Jewel State is in it.
Oh, I love Jules.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So she plays somebody who was a really popular actress and now has gotten older and is getting less roles. I'm like, oh, it's Jewel State. Yeah. But the thing that I find really funny about it is that it was a show that was originally made by CTV, which is the Canadian television channel.
Yeah.
And then picked up for syndication, or not even syndication, but picked up for distribution in the U.S. by CW. So it was on CW, like
Okay.
4 years ago. They never really talk about it, but every character that's there is from Canada.
Okay.
So, like, the main girl from Toronto, there's a guy who's trying to be a writer for comedy shows. He's from, like, Halifax. And there's a guy from Regina. And there's a guy from, like...
No one's from Regina.
Right. So, and that was the weird thing. Is, like, that's a very, very specific Canadian city
like
to be
nobody,
from.
that's like, where are you from? Regina and Saskatoon. Nobody
Yeah.
like throws those places out there in writing
So
characters.
it's just really funny that, like, they wrote this story that's obviously it's based in LA, and yes, it was a Canadian channel that wrote it. But why would you make all of your characters in LA from Canada, and then never reference it?
I get it. Like, if it's a Canadian show, I'm assuming they're just trying to write it for Canadian viewership. Oh, he's from Regina too, eh?
Yeah,
You
but
know?
but if you know so this is like, it lasted 2 seasons, and even in season 2, when they know they've been on CW for a season and a half, they're not like.
Right.
And it got to the point where in one of the episodes I watched yesterday, the guy that's trying to be a comedy writer references like, "Hey, let's go to the Peelers." Do you know the Peelers?
No.
That's what Canadians call the strip club,
Okay.
and that's a very, very Canadian term.
That is a very specific.
And I'm like, how many people watching this on CW even understood what he was saying until the next scene where they're in a strip club?
I'm gonna laugh if like the writers are just sitting in, I guess, their igloo in Canada.
Yeah, right.
Writing these things, not realize, because some phrases we just assume everybody knows these
Oh,
phrases.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
just a specific thing. We even have like specific Northwest Washington
Yep.
phrases that if you go 2 states over, they're like, "What the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?"
absolutely.
So I'm curious if for him he's all like, "Well, everyone knows what a peeler is, eh, Hoser?"
Right.
Like,
I was waiting for somebody to be like, "Hey, let me grab my toque before
I
we
was
go."
about to say if there's a toque joke in there, I'd watch
But-
that show in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But no, I mean it's an entertaining show, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty much what it's really like in Hollywood. They've got a spoof show of like Seventh Heaven on there, so like the main actress is trying to get a role on the Seventh Heaven show, and the guy like Alan Thicke plays like the dad, and he's like, you can't wear a low cut shirt like that. That's kind of like Satan. So it's interesting. It only lasted 2 seasons. And I think I've got like 6 episodes left. So.
Okay. Well, you like enough to keep going. The reason I was writing down.
Yeah, I was wondering what.
One of the shows I'm watching, one of the girls is from Toronto.
Okay.
She's an actress from Toronto, and they were showing her Instagram account, and I forgot. I wanted to tell you, her Instagram user account is Degrassi Junior Heidi.
Nice.
So like even in the show, they were smart enough to put that
Yeah.
as the.
Yeah. So what have you been watching?
The other thing I want to clarify really fast. I exclaimed I love Jewel State. I need to clarify that. I hate her as a person. I love looking at her.
Okay.
I think she's adorable. Like every time I see her as a character, she plays the same character. That kind of
absolutely.
bubbly, adorable
Yep.
character. I like that character. Jewel State as a person, I'm not a fan of.
See, and I've never interacted with her in person, so I don't know.
Kind of yourself lucky. All right, so
Okay.
what have I been watching? I watched first episode of Fuller House. I'm done with Raising Hope, and I think I've already said that.
As in finished or just gave
As in
up?
finished.
Okay.
So the guy who wrote Raising Hope also did My Name is Earl.
Yes.
So I've been starting My Name is Earl. About 12 episodes in. I like it. Not as much as I like Raising Hope, but I'm still enjoying it.
Okay.
And it's interesting because a lot of the characters from Raising Hope are not characters, but the actors
Yeah.
are in My Name is Earl. A lot of the actors from My Name is Earl's in Raising Hope, and a couple of them reprise their roles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
So it's a shared universe.
Yes and no. They reprise their roles, but they don't. Like, one of the guys is called the Crabman, and My Name is Earl.
Okay.
So whenever he shows up in Raising Hope, he's always something man. Like, he was the maintenance guy. So, like, hey, lawn man. And the next
Okay.
time he delivers a pizza, he's like, hey, delivery man. Like, so
Got it.
they're making obvious nods to My Name is
Sure,
Earl
sure.
without specifically saying,
So did My Name is Earl come first?
yes,
Okay,
My Name is
okay,
Earl came first.
Okay.
And they're on 2 different networks. In fact, in Raising Hope Season 2, the family's watching My Name is Earl.
Oh, nice.
It's interesting because there are 2 different networks.
Yeah.
And they also, in Season 3 of Raising Hope, they end up going to Hollywood And Bert is like, "Where's NBC? I want to yell at them for canceling My Name Is Earl." So it's really
Nice.
so
nice.
it's super interesting
Yeah,
because in
yeah,
Raising
yeah.
Hope is clearly a TV show,
Right.
but the actors come on always portraying and referencing things from My Name Is Earl without it being a direct reference.
Okay.
So I've been enjoying that. I'm all caught up on You, Me, and the Apocalypse. I don't know if you're familiar with this show or not.
I saw trailers and I feel like that was too much.
I still don't know if I like it or dislike it.
This is like when you got into The Last Man on Earth, and I'm like, why?
Yeah. And funny enough, both deal with apocalypses.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are not familiar with You, Me, and the Apocalypse, it's a show based around essentially 6 different people. And the world is coming to an end. We know for a fact there's an asteroid or a meteorite. I can't remember which one is bigger and causes the destruction of the planet. I'm not science oriented. It's on its way, and we
Yeah.
know we can't stop it. So they make a public announcement to the world saying, hey, in 30 days, this asteroid is going to hit. The United States government has a plan. We're going to save the planet, but you guys, we just want you to know. They actually don't have a plan, and they know they're going to.
Well, sure.
But they want to say that just to make people at ease. So one group of people that it focuses on is Rob Lowe, who plays a priest
Uh-huh.
at the Vatican, and then his new assistant. So they are going around trying to either confirm, but mostly deny, all the people who are presented with miracles as this is happening.
Okay.
Because as you know, in the Bible, come this apocalypse, there is the return of the Jesus, and he goes forth and he, proclaims everybody else. There's the rapture and all this kind of stuff. So there's all these false messiahs coming out. So it's their job to go and obviously disprove them. They have yet to validate any of them. And then you have Jenna Fisher and Megan Mullally is another set of characters.
Okay.
And they just escaped from prison. Megan Mullally ran the Aryan Sisterhood.
Oh, jeez.
She's a white supremacist with a tattoo swastika on her forehead.
Oh.
And Jenna Fisher's son was a hacker who hacked the NSA but used her computer, and she knew it was her son, so she took the fall for him.
Right.
So they are an odd fellow because she's super sweet, and she's like, Jenna Fisher, and then you have Megan Mullally, who is a white supremacist,
Right.
and she just nails it. And in fact, one of them, her husband Nick Offerman, is in one of the episodes.
Okay.
And it's awesome because like Jenna Fisher stumbles into him, and he has a gun pointed to her because she's still in her prison clothes. So she explains everything to him, and since the world's ending, he invites her in anyways. And he's like, I've never told anybody this before, but since the world's ending, I gotta tell somebody. I like to wear women's clothes.
Oh, no.
So you see not Ron, that's his character in Parks and Rec.
Right.
You see Nick Offerman dressed as a woman, but like you would see like a country mother. He's got the pearls and the pink full dress on, and he's doing his makeup, and she's sitting next to him in a similar dress. Like there are parts to it that I find really amusing. And the final group of people are no actors I'm familiar with, but it's a guy and his twin brother. He didn't know he had a twin brother because he was adopted.
Okay.
The twin brother is the computer hacker who also got into the NSA and found out they're not really saving the world.
Okay.
And he's after Jenna Fisher because he wants her son, who is a better hacker than he is.
Okay.
So there's those 3 stories going on at once. It's a lot of with an occasional really funny joke that keeps me interested.
Okay. So the main concern I had about the show when I first started seeing the trailers for it, or the commercials. Do we call TV commercials trailers?
No, I call them commercials.
Okay. Adverts. If indeed this asteroid hits the Earth and civilization dies, end of the show.
That's what you said about Last Man on Earth. So the show begins with the main character, Jamie, sitting in a bunker,
Okay.
watching the Earth being destroyed on TV. So he made it into the bunker that we know exists.
Okay.
And then so you saw him and Jenna Fisher. And that's all you saw for the first episode in the bunker. In the second episode, they show you one more person's in the bunker.
Okay.
In the third episode, they show you one more person's in the bunker.
So it keeps revealing more and more people are alive.
As the show progresses and introduces new characters, it either shows you somebody new that you met in the bunker, or somebody you haven't met, but you can assume they're going to be related.
Okay.
Excuse me. I had to sneeze.
There it is.
There it is. My apologies.
So my question is, at the end of the show, are we going Hunger Games or Maze Runner? Because I feel like those are like the two outcomes of this.
I want to join it and go Hunger Maze. They're tributes that have to kill each other in a maze.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
Fantastic.
The other one I've been watching is The Flash, obviously.
Okay.
How caught up are you?
I have not seen last week's episode.
So you haven't seen the reveal of Zoom?
No.
Okay.
I know. It was a busy week.
May I?
Absolutely.
So, the episode's King Shark. He gets released. Suddenly, Diggle shows up to get Flash's help to save him.
Right.
To save King Shark and destroy him. And we find out at the very end of the episode who Zoom is.
It's Barry's mom.
I now want to petition CW to go ahead and make an Earth 3 version of Zoom that's Barry's mom.
Right?
That'd be
Like, nobody would expect that.
oh no, that'd be amazing. Like he went back in time because remember when he went back in time and she saw him?
Right.
She then stole some of his speed. Then
There
and
it
ever
is.
since has been stealing
There it
speed.
is.
Yes, Mrs. Allen is Zoom. I feel like she should have a better name though, like something mom related. The matriarch of speed. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. No, so he peels off the mask and it's Jay Garrick.
Okay.
Or at least the guy we think is Jay Garrick. Obviously, it's Hunter Zolomon.
Right.
Which, if you read the comic books, you know Hunter Zolomon is, in fact, Zoom. So there's no surprise to see that underneath the mask is Hunter Zolomon. The surprise was when the guy in the mask, the Iron Mask, saw Jay Garrick's body, he got super sad. So not quite sure yet who the man...
So we haven't seen who that is yet.
Still don't know.
It's not... Damn, I'm totally forgetting about it. Was that Leo? The man in the Iron Mask?
Well, originally, yeah.
The movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say, because originally it's the Three Musketeers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if it turns out to be Academy Award winning Leonardo DiCaprio, I would like the show a lot less.
Well, he's just trying to get that Emmy now.
Oh, he's going for an EGOT. That's what the dude needs.
Well, because he didn't get one for his fantastic role on Growing Pains.
They can go back and reverse it, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Flash. I see Lucifer right there.
Yep, that's the next thing I'm gonna talk about is Lucifer. I was really hesitant to watch this show because I see the trailers and I see the premise. I'm like, this is gonna get old real fast.
Yeah.
I've actually been quite enjoying it.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of season 1 of Bones.
I've never seen Bones.
Okay, I have not been enjoying the past couple seasons, but I really enjoyed the first several.
Okay.
So it reminds me of Bones in the aspect of you have the straight-laced, by-the-books female.
Okay.
And then you have the male he's rugged, he's charming, he wants to break the rules, but he wants to solve the case, but on his terms kind of thing.
Sure.
That's what you have in Lucifer.
Okay.
Obviously, he is the devil, decided he doesn't want to be in hell anymore. He comes to Earth. He opens up a club, and which is the way it works in the comic. And then one of the people, he does favors for people.
Okay.
Just like the devil does, you know.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll do a favor for you, and one day you'll do a favor for me.
Right. Very Godfather-esque.
Yes. One of the people he did a favor for has come to him, and she's just making small talk, and because he made her into celebrity, and she's like, "Did I sell my soul to the devil?" And he goes, "No, I'm not. I have no interest in your soul. That is not something I'm actually interested in. My whole purpose is to punish those who deserve it."
Okay.
Okay, fine. So you can tell he actually really likes her. Like he's intrigued by humans, and he likes this girl Delilah. Yeah,
Of course it's Delilah.
it's Delilah. So she gets killed by Samson. I'm joking. I'm totally joking. But
I was
that
like,
would be-
I'm actually going to tune into this show now.
yeah, that'd be great.
Right?
The next one, David goes up against like it's all. So Delilah, and he's talking to her, and she has just been a train wreck since she got notoriety and fame.
Okay.
And he's like, "This is all on you." Like He's like, "I hate that I get all like everyone's like, oh, something bad happened. The devil did it,
Right.
Or something." But he's like, "I have nothing to do with any of that. I don't give a shit about your people's lives. Like he's like, take your own like, and it's actually become a personal hang up for him in the show.
Okay.
It's become very clear he hates the reputation he has because he feels like it's an unjust reputation.
Okay.
So she's like, I know I owe you a favor now. He goes, it does. You do. And it's time I call in my favor. Get your life together. Stop appearing on these crazy reality shows like he's talking about like TMZ. And stop with these drugs and just get your life together. She goes, he's like, that's all I want from you. That is the favor I'm asking from you. So you can see he actually cares about. There's some humans he very much cares about, and there's some he just does not give a shit about.
Okay.
Delilah's one he cares about. This is all in the first 10 minutes of the first episode.
Okay.
So as he's saying something to her, there's a drive-by in downtown LA intentionally to gun her down.
Oh.
So she's killed while he's hugging her goodbye. Obviously, the bullets don't hurt him because he's the fucking devil. So he sees who it is. He goes to talk to the guy, tries to figure out what's happening before the guy dies because he only hold on to him for so long before he goes. And then the police officer, his partner, she shows up. She tells him, get away from the whole case. So he starts investigating on his own. They meet up halfway through. He helps her solve it. And then he's like, well, this is great. I got to punish the person responsible. Like, I'm all about punishment. Let's keep doing this. Like, he's like, I just keep on punishing the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does in hell. Essentially, just punishes the bad guys. So that's how it starts with him teamed up with this girl. And she keep reluctantly wanting his help for the first couple episodes, and he keeps forcing it in. And then he does a favor for the captain. And the captain, to make up for the favor, she's not the captain yet, she's commander. The favor he did was make sure that she became captain.
Okay.
And in return, he gets to be a civil liaison.
Yeah.
So he gets to team up on the cases if he wants to.
Nice.
So it does have that whole kind of dynamic to it. Meanwhile, the demon that came from hell with him, Maze, is very angry that they are not. The whole point was to come to Earth, have some fun, drink liquor, fuck around, and call it a life.
Yeah. I mean, it's all of our life goals.
Right? But in turn, he's now interested in this otherworldly stuff and in being a detective and trying to figure out what's going on and stop crime. And she's like, this is bullshit. Like, you need to either get back to what you were. So she's goading him into stop playing with your pet detective, stop all your shenanigans.
Okay.
Like, at one point, she even brings him 3 women. She goes, please meet Brittany and her sister, Brittany. And then, like, he's like, I don't have time for this, Miz. And she's like, the fuck happened to you?
Yeah.
Because in episode 2, we see him, like, having a 3-way.
Okay.
Him, another guy, and a girl. And he gets out of bed, and someone looks at him and goes, well, it's called the Devil's 3-way.
Yeah.
The other part of it is there's an angel who's come down trying to convince him to go back to hell.
Okay.
Because now all the bad people who are going to hell are not being punished. And now there's demon uprisings.
Okay.
So essentially, he needs to go back to Lord over hell. And he's like, I got no desire for that. But now he's starting to have conflicts because now some of the people that on Earth, he didn't get a chance to punish that got killed. Like, his partner's like, well, but he's going to go to hell, and he's like, there's no one there to punish him. Like, so now he's all the while he's on Earth, he's becoming a little bit more mortal.
Okay.
Bullets are now starting to hurt him.
Oh.
And then the cliffhanger from last night's episode was, you knew he cut off his wings. Someone has stolen them.
Oh.
And that's been the end of the last episode.
Okay.
So I've actually been enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would.
Okay.
I don't know why I keep saying season instead of episode. I swear I've only had like 9 of these.
Yeah, well.
Episode 2 was dramatically different from the pilot, which is actually the reason why I'll give Fuller House a couple more.
Right.
So I have been enjoying Lucifer.
Okay.
So one other show I want to talk about, but it's part of a larger conversation that leads into movies too.
Okay.
The show's called Love.
Oh, no.
Have you watched it, Jay?
No, I will not. I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, well, it's a Netflix original. I'm curious. I watched the trailer. I'm like, fuck, no. I want nothing to do with this show.
One, I'm no longer... Netflix original no longer means anything
No,
to me. That is
And-
no
and
longer a sign
this,
of quality.
This was the seal on that for me.
right? I watched the first episode and I hated it.
I don't doubt that at all.
I've watched the entire first season.
Oh, I feel for you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I did it for you guys. I didn't do it for the joy I took from it because I took very little joy in it. I did it for you. So you all owe me a favor is kind of where I'm getting with this. Some of you clean your life up. Other of you
Send whiskey.
send whiskey. The two of you who know you who you are, three-way. But anyways,
No, so yeah, I watched the trailer for this, and I'm like, this was a good movie in 2003 when it was Garden State and Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist and the other 18 movies that came out of this concept then. And not only is this a copycat of good movies from 13, 14 years ago, it's a very, very, very shitty copycat of that.
yeah, to some degree. So it kind of brings me to the larger discussion. I'll hit on love, and then I'll hit on the larger discussion that it's part of. The first episode, again, was definitely the worst. The premise of the show is you have this one really sweet, overly nice, nerdy guy, and this one rebellious girl who's on drugs and is an alcoholic and a love addict and a sex addict. And they meet, and they fall in love, but everything keeps happening and all this weird shit. I haven't laughed once at this show.
No.
So I've watched all the episodes.
And here's the kicker. You haven't laughed, but there's been a million jokes in there.
Yeah, no, I agree that I don't think this show is funny. I don't think the show should be labeled as a comedy by any fucking stretch of the imagination. Like at one point, maybe about 15 minutes in the first episode, Jillian Jacobs, her character's name is Mickey, is fucking her boyfriend Eric. And he's got to leave because his mom's coming by to pick him up to go buy him pants. And she's like, you're such a fucking loser. Your parents, you still live with your parents. Your parents are buying you things. You need to be a man. She's yelling at him as he's leaving the house, going into the mom's car. And she's yelling at him. And the mom's like, oh, do you want to come with us? She goes, I still have your son's cum inside me. So no. And walks away.
Why?
And I'm all like, I get that was supposed to be the joke.
Yeah.
But like that was not funny.
No,
It was-
you're just being like abrasive for abrasive sake.
And that's the way it's actually felt like that is toned off throughout the show. Like it's kind of come down a bit from that. Every now and then it does happen. There are peaks when that happens. You're like, this is just unnecessary. Like I don't feel like it's pushing the show forward at all. I don't feel like it's actually funny. I just feel like you're like, we got to throw something in there. So let's do this. It brings me to the larger part of the conversation.
Okay.
It is executive produced by Judd Apatow.
I did not know that. That's actually kind of disappointing.
So you are experiencing exactly what I was experiencing. Is Judd Apatow funny?
I think he was.
Let's go
funny.
through his list of things he's known for. Trainwreck, not funny.
I didn't watch it.
Love, This is 40, Funny People, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Is Judd Apatow funny?
So what you have there is the list of the popular movies.
Sure. I left off Freaks and Geeks.
I loved Freaks and Geeks.
Sure.
And I thought Undeclared was also really good.
Did not watch Undeclared.
So Undeclared was like the spiritual successor.
Sure.
Also featured a young Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, and the Charlie Hunnam was in it, and then it's the same one of the guys. What's his name? Nerdy guy. It'll come to me later.
Anyways, I feel like I really, really liked those, and I've liked very little after that.
So is Judd Apatow funny?
Not anymore.
So I look fondly, like whenever when I mentioned to somebody I was watching Love, he says to me, "Oh, do you like Judd Apatow?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
And then you started thinking, you're like,
And then I started thinking about it.
no,
I
no,
actually don't like Judd
No.
Apatow. I don't. I love his wife, Leslie Mann is hilarious,
Yeah,
but no.
yeah.
I tried to watch the movie Trainwrecked. I'll get into movies now. I tried to watch the movie Trainwrecked. We got about 15, 20 minutes in, and we were like, no, we're done with this movie because it's bad.
That's the
Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because she's not funny. And then again, it's stupid and vulgar for stupid and vulgar sake.
Right.
Oh, but you don't get it. She's like a guy because she likes sports and makes Star Wars jokes. You know what? I don't think it's funny when guys do it. let alone fucking find it when Amy Schumer does it.
Right.
So I present this question to you: is Judd Apatow funny? Think about it.
And it inevitably settle on no.
Yeah, no, come on. You guys, all of you at Graydon are going to say no, so fuck it.
Yeah.
So we turned off Trainwrecked and instead watched Meet the Patels.
I'm sorry, the what?
Meet the Patels.
Okay.
So it is a movie, not really written, it's a documentary about an actor named Ravi Patel
Okay.
and his sister, who's also in Hollywood. She's a director and writer named Geeta Patel.
Okay.
So she held the camera, and it's all either interviews with him or his parents, or like shaky cam actual footage from them going on different trips or family vacations and stuff.
Okay.
So the whole premise is, in the Indian culture, it's arranged marriages.
Yes.
And Ravi is about to be 30 and he's only had one serious relationship in his life.
Okay.
It lasted 2 years, and he hid it from his parents because it was a white girl. It got to the point where she was like, what is happening with us? Like, you are now like adverse to commitment. You're lying to your parents. Like, you either make this a real relationship or we're through.
Sure.
And they broke up. So then he finally tells his parents, okay, I agree. I will spend the next year going through the Indian custom of dating where you guys arrange my marriage and arrange
Right.
the
Your
meetings.
courtship is essentially your engagement.
Right. So he's essentially saying, okay, let's do it. So it's a documentary of his rising relationship with this white girl, The Fall. Like, it's sad because it's actual phone calls. It's actually him crying. And there are actually times where it's like, Geeta, turn the fucking camera off. I can't right now. And it's interviews with his parents and everything else. So it's a super interesting movie to see how deep the Indian culture is in it. It's also interesting to find out that Patel is the most common Indian last name
Okay.
because it's also a region of India. So you just kind of took that name if you're from that region.
Got it. Like in biblical times.
Right. So the dad explains, like, this is the map of India. This part is the Patel region. You're okay to date this type of Patel, like the Shwanishi Patel or the Patel 1 or 2 region. We're not okay with the region 3, 4, or 5 is a little outside our village. We don't date those Patels.
Interesting.
So they go through all this, and then how he meets the girls. So he agrees. So all family friends now go out investigating and questing to find women.
Okay.
And when you find them, they send you something called the bio sheet, the bio data sheet. And
like a
it's
dossier on your
it is. It is a dating resume with a photo, a name, skin color, which it turns out the most desired Indian skin color is wheatish.
Yeah, no, that sounds right.
Yeah, but like-
when I'm looking at Indian women, that's what I look at.
And like the mother was even like at one point, no, she is too dark. She's too dark. Nope. Like, it is like, so they go through all of this. And after the year, his parents are frustrated. They've spent thousands upon thousands of dollars. He flew like to 19 to 20 different cities, like trying to go on different dates and phone calls, and flew to India, like all this crazy stuff. So finally he tells them the truth. There's this girl I love. And she's white and this and that. The mom disowns him essentially right then and there.
Oh, sure.
Won't speak to him, won't this and that. And the dad is...
Good for her. I mean...
And then you find out later in the movie, like, she's not speaking to him, the mom. The dad still is. And she finally is like, it's not that she's white. It's that you lied. Like, don't you understand? Like, and it's all real and they're crying. And there are times where they're like pushing the camera away. Like, no, Geeta, turn it off. Like,
Wow.
So it was really well done though.
Okay.
Like,
I might check that out. That actually sounds really interesting.
it's on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
It's super funny. It's really quite enjoyable.
Okay.
Also, doesn't turn out, but when I first saw it, I heard the guy talk. I'm like, I know that voice. He's one of the main actors on Grandfathered.
Oh, okay.
Because he is
I was gonna say that name sounds familiar.
you will see him and be like, oh, I know exactly who this dude is. He's in a bunch of movies. Always been like a side character.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
everything.
Okay.
So those are my movies. Any
Okay.
movies for you?
I watched 2 movies. I watched a movie called The First Time, which is kind of like
Aww.
it's a teenage rom-com, whatever. But it was the last movie that I had on my list with Britt Robertson in it.
Okay.
So she's dating an older guy who's a total like pretentious douchebag, and then she meets this guy at a party who's all hung up on like the popular girl at school, and then these guys start hanging out and they get together, and it's that thing like, oh, we're gonna break up. Oh no, at the end we're gonna get together. Very formulaic, but good. And then the movie I watched was Burnt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I want to.
Okay, and I figured it would appeal to you because it's the culinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the guy whose name I can't think of now.
Bradley
that stars-
Cooper?
Yeah, I like him as an actor. I think he's
Yeah.
pretty good. So to see him in this as like a very, very obsessive, classically trained French chef who has to adapt to a modern restaurant scene in London is very interesting to me.
Okay.
Also made me want to just go cook, and then I looked at my kitchen and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I have a fucking galley kitchen. Never mind.
Oh man, you should have seen what I made for dinner tonight.
I saw it sitting over there. I was like,
That's just the. I made extra rice for her to take for her lunch.
I was about to just grab a spoon and just dig in.
Yeah, you can take one of those.
No, I'm kidding. But no, good movie. Definitely resembles everything that I understand about the professional kitchen.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I definitely recommend it.
Good. Yeah, I want to see that. There's also a documentary, a 4-part documentary on Netflix called Cook.
Okay.
Cook or Cooked.
Okay.
I'm really interested in too. It's about this documentarian does 4 different parts about cooking and like the revolutionary parts, like when we discovered fire and what that meant.
Okay.
But it's not just the cooking, and it's cultural. What's it mean in this region to
Right.
cook like this and eat like this?
Yeah.
And like the story behind food and how you eat as a culture and that
So
kind of thing.
and I'm definitely gonna watch this now, so I'm interested. Does it go into like the difference between what a meal in like say France is
Oh,
versus
yeah.
like a soccer mom in
It absolutely shows like in this part of the region, this is how they eat. This is what food means to them and why cooking is love, because you are essentially, and it's so interesting because this is going to sound really, really silly for a moment, so please bear with me. If you're a potential candidate, this does go on my biodata listing. Food is one of my love languages.
Oh, me too.
Not because I love to eat food. I do. But I cook for people I care about.
Yeah.
And I got that from my parents, specifically my mom. And I've always enjoyed it, but I couldn't put to words why. And then, like, in the trailer of the documentary, it goes, you are essentially making food for people you love. You are giving them part of you to give them something they need to survive. That is how you're showing that towards their
Okay.
affection. I'm like, yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So I'm a little different. Like I like cooking for people and presenting with that. But I think even more than that, I love finding like going out and finding
Oh,
new
yeah.
things to eat.
No, absolutely.
And having that like initial like I've never had this before, you've never had this before. It's totally out of our wheelhouse.
Let's do it, though.
Experience.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm totally gonna check that documentary out.
But that's also why, yeah, so it's super interesting because it is like, and they show one meal where I can't remember what region it was. They're all sitting down around 3 different bowls, eating with their fingers and handing
India.
them. Yeah, so
So when I was in Singapore a couple years ago, I don't know if you know much about Singapore.
just the
It's-
street noodles.
Yeah, so it's essentially 4 different cultures mixed into one. It's Chinese, Thai, Indian, and Malay.
Okay.
And when you're there, there's a very heavy presence of each of those
Sure.
cuisines there. And a lot of like the construction workers are actually Indian, which is definitely different than what I'm used to here. But on break time, they all sit on the sidewalk with a couple communal bowls of food in the middle and no utensils. So they put it all on like a little foil or paper wrapper and they just scoop it in their mouth. And that's how they do it.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see, but because I'm used to like you go anywhere and you have some sort of utensil to eat with, but they're like, no, I got my hand. What's the best utensil?
Yeah, what do
can
I
ever-"
need something else for?
If I have something I need to cut, I just rape the thing and I eat it.
Yeah.
So,
So, and I was, not to go into like myself, I was raised by immigrants to America.
right.
Like they left a village that didn't speak English and had running water. So I grew up in kind of that aspect where food was a big deal.
Yeah.
Meals were a thing. Like if I were to tell my parents I'm going to miss a meal, like as we grew up and got more gentrified in like high school years, they were more okay with it. But if there's a reason I was missing a Sunday dinner
Yeah.
or Sunday lunch or if a family event, it better be like a good fucking reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, super interesting documentary. I'm gonna watch that soon, and we'll report back on that.
Cool. Let's go into the next thing, which is
Comic books. What you got?
So I only read 3 things this week. As I told you when I got here, I actually have not. So we record on Wednesday. I know we've been over this before. We record on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So I have from the time I get off of work to the time I show up for recording to read.
Sure.
You get a little bit more time than I do.
A little bit.
But so yeah, I have essentially 4 hours.
That's okay.
So I got through 3 issues today. I read Power Rangers #1.
Mm-hmm.
I read Uncanny X-Men #4. And I read The Discipline #1.
I can't wait to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk to you about
'Kay.
this. Okay. So my pull list this week was Vampirella #1, written by Kate Leth. Avengers Alpha #1, the standoff on Pleasant Hill, which is going to lead to their new crossover event, which will lead to Civil War. Black Widow #1. Batman Beyond 10, Green Lantern 50, and Bob's Burgers Well Done Volume 2 trade paperback.
I didn't know you went to trade on that.
Yeah, I actually never got Bob's on single issue.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I got Futurama single issue.
Okay.
Bob's Burgers always been trade for me.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of touch briefly on Black Widow and Vampirella, but not before I hear all about The Discipline.
Okay, so I have to preface this.
Do you?
I do.
All right.
Turn back the clock to like 40 episodes ago.
I was drunk.
Yeah, we were.
All right.
So Vertigo put out a previews book called Defy. That's when they first started their Defy campaign.
Yes.
And it had previews in there of like 10 or 12 different books. And I went through and I'm like, oh, I want to read this, I want to read this, I want to read this. And one of the books in there was The Discipline by Peter Milligan. And I can't remember the artist's name, I apologize. And I waited for it to come out. It said it was supposed to come out in like May of 2015 or something like that. And it didn't come out, and there was no news online about it or anything. And then after like 6 months after it was supposed to come out, this book called The Names came out.
Yes.
It was a very, very similar concept, and it was written and drawn by the same people. So I'm like, oh, maybe they just changed the name, whatever.
And I remember what you actually had said on air.
Yeah. And that ended up being like 10 issues or 11 issues, something like that. So I kind of gave up on The Discipline ever coming out because I assumed it came out under a different name. And then I'm looking at yesterday, the list of stuff that's coming out today, and it's got listed The Discipline #1. And I'm like, it's finally coming out under a different publisher. So I picked it up. And I read my books in a Starbucks today, like out in public, on my laptop, because I got them digitally. And the first page is sex. Like, you just see, like, this weird demon having sex with a woman.
Yeah.
So I'm, like, kind of angling my computer because I'm already in a corner. And I'm like, I don't need people to see this.
Can I put like one of those screens that the bank has to make it black when you're looking at it the right angle?
And I realized halfway through, I have a full window right behind me, which is... So I was at the Starbucks here in Mountain Lake Terrace, the one down by the QFC. On, like, 228.
Yeah, of course.
And you park... right in front of these windows, and then you walk around. So I'm like looking over my shoulder and making sure nobody's coming in.
If you're that close, you could have just came here and read comics.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well have. But I got there at like 5:30,
Sure.
so I had some work to do. But yeah, so this came out. It's a thing now.
So the reason I'm laughing, I want to tell you my experience with it, and then I actually want you to tell me about the book.
Yeah.
It came in, and I flipped through the pages. And what really stuck out the most to me was when a werewolf-looking creature spits at a girl's face, which drugs her like a Rohypnol, and then proceeds to rape her.
And your takeaway is, damn, why can't I have acid spit?
I have spit in my wife's face 4 times since I read that. And every time, all I do is get slapped.
So no, that's a thing that happened in this book.
So tell me about this book.
Okay, so much in the vein of The Names, if you remember me talking about that, there's this woman who gets involved with this group that she doesn't really understand. Like, the whole thing is she gets involved with this group, and then she finds out what the dark and dirty secrets behind them are, and just how much trouble she's in.
Okay.
That's kind of the elevator pitch. So it opens up. This woman is she's married to a man who makes a lot of money, but like most people that are married and make lots and lots of money, millions of dollars, it's a very unhappy marriage.
Sure.
It's a very empty marriage, because that's what happens. So she's at her sister's house. I guess her parent is very sick, and her sister's taking care of it. Her sister apparently is not doing as well in life, has a drug addict boyfriend, and that sort of thing.
Is she happy?
When she takes the right pills.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, that's...
that's also what happens to the millionaire wives. As long as they're on the right pills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then our main character leaves from there and goes home and goes to the local art gallery. And she's looking at this particular painting. And apparently she comes there every day and looks at the same painting.
Okay.
So this guy comes up to her and is like, hey, I've been watching you. And if you want to know more, I'm going to call you in exactly 2 days and do exactly what I say. So he ends up being from this weird group called The Discipline. And you find out that there's this weird battle going on between The Discipline and then this other entity. And they're all like weird creatures and things like that. So they're trying to get this woman to become part of The Discipline to fight their enemy. But a lot of it is just through weird, like, drug-induced sex.
How else does one fight one's enemies without drug-induced sex?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's like... I think that's chapter 1 of The Art of War, Sun Tzu.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what it is. The first issue is like a lot of things going on. You don't really understand what all is happening. But at the end of the issue, they're now talking about maybe this lady isn't ready to be part of our battle, and what if we go after her sister instead?
Oh, good.
So I'm sure there will be spitting on the sister next episode.
Well, I mean,
Gargoyle sex.
sometimes you want to get a little freaky.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to spit a little bit.
Right.
Are you in for?
I'm going to read number 2. Mainly because I've been waiting a year and a half for this book.
And do you think it's gonna pay off?
I don't know. Probably not.
Um,
Because honestly, like, the names seems to be a lot more in line with what I thought this book was going to be.
right.
I didn't know there was going to be this whole paranormal, like...
So
rape
perhaps the
thing.
editors at Vertigo did the right thing
It's possible.
by shaping the names and saying no to the discipline.
It's possible.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Image will publish anything.
Oh yeah, they will. Yeah,
I know they publish a lot of good things.
And a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
Like Bitch Planet.
I can't believe that's still going on.
It's actually not coming back till August.
But it's coming back, and that's a problem.
Yeah. All right, so there's 2 books I'm going to touch on because I don't have a lot to say about either of them.
Okay.
The first one I'll touch on is Black Widow #1 by Mark Waid and Chris Samney does the art. Super excited for this book. It's the same team that did Daredevil, and we all know
Okay.
how much I loved last Daredevil run.
All that Daredevil over that I never read.
Before you leave the house, there's a long box upstairs you can take.
Yeah.
A lot happened in this book. And when I say that, I say it facetiously. This entire book was Black Widow breaking away from S.H.I.E.L.D. as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Can they just stop giving her badge back?
That's it, though. That's all that happened.
Okay.
Like, literally, the book starts off with her running in the office building, her jumping out of the helicarrier, her finding a way to land from jumping off the helicarrier, and her walking away from the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent she just beat up. That was the entire book.
Wow.
Like, that was it.
Huh.
I
looked at all these pictures, and I'm like, yeah, that's really it.
She jumps out. She jumps out of the helicarrier. They go after her with the flying car. She steals some guy's jetpack as they're falling. They're falling. They're now street racing away from them. They catch up with her with the flying car. She beats him up. And it's over.
Cool. Are you going to continue with this book?
So, I don't know if you've heard or paid attention to my polls. I don't think I've said a #2 issue of a lot of Marvel stuff.
No.
I will get that in trade. I'm essentially ending my relationship with Marvel in single issues.
Fair enough.
They can have my trade business. They no longer can have my single issue business.
Okay.
And even their trade business is a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
With Black Widow specifically, if I was going to get a book in single issue from Marvel, this would be one of the higher up on my list.
Okay.
Because despite the lack of what happened, I think it was a lot of setup and a lot, I think, what happened in the long run for this.
Okay.
Mark Waid has really made a resurgence for himself in these past 4 years.
Yep.
I loved Mark Waid back in the 90s, in the early 2000s. He had a lull. He's clearly back in full swing. And I loved his writing on Daredevil. I even like his Avengers. I love his Archie. I like Sam Neill's art. Like, enough where one issue that didn't seem like a lot happened, totally okay with me, because I feel like it's definitely going to build to something.
Okay.
The exact opposite is Vampirella #1.
Okay.
First of all, I did not realize that it is a Twilight book.
I don't know what that is.
You'd like the movie Twilight?
Oh.
Let me explain this to you. She's a vampire
Yes.
who's married to a werewolf. It's cute. It's
Oh.
cute.
Yeah.
And she makes jokes and calls him a puppy, and he calls her a biter, and it's adorable. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
That's...
So the book wasn't. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it was good. It was just super bland.
Okay.
Like, I read this issue, and everything that happened in this issue could have done in 3 pages. Whereas for Black Widow, I'm like, okay, maybe not a lot happened, but there's a lot of potential I see going forward.
Sure.
In this, I'm like, I don't see anything coming forward from this, really. She got a new costume, clearly. Has a new outfit now.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
fine. I don't care if you update her costume. She's now moved to LA. And
course.
an agent. She now has an
she's
agent.
Organic, vegan, doing CrossFit, all
Of
that.
course,
Yeah.
I'm sure. She now has an agent who's going to help her. Not like a movie agent. It's a supernatural agent. There's also a bad supernatural agent who hired some actors to come to a set. There's no camera. She was just there to feed them to demons and werewolves and stuff.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So with Vampirella, I don't see a potential future. Whereas with Black Widow, I definitely do.
Okay.
So those are my books for this week.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 beats of comic news I'm going to touch on, and we'll
Okay.
call this an episode.
Cool. What's up?
1, DC has announced that they will be giving all their Rebirth information at WonderCon this month.
Is that their new local con?
I think they're treating it as a kind of a local con.
Well, because where their offices are now, is that like the closest major con
think
to
it
them?
might be,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Here's the shitty part. I turned down an opportunity to go to WonderCon. So I'm like, nah. And
It's
now,
WonderCon. Why would I go?
And now I'm like, son of a bitch, I should have gone.
You can't change that?
I will be out of town now with other plans.
Okay.
But yeah. So bummer. But
Yeah.
obviously Newsarama, CBR, everyone's gonna be updating it.
Right.
So WonderCon, big Rebirth news, and we'll have more to talk about Rebirth at that point. Speaking of Rebirth,
Yeah.
it has been official. It has been verified. We know the title. One of the titles we're getting is Rebirth Nightwing.
Yes, that is true.
It has been confirmed. Rebirth Nightwing will be Dick Grayson.
Good.
I'm super happy. I rejoiced. I texted people. My comments were so inappropriate. I don't even repeat them here. And you've all heard the filth I'll say here. Yeah.
Brutal.
But makes for super happy me.
Good. There's a couple titles in that announcement list that I'm excited about too. I'm getting like a regular Supergirl book again.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that Batgirl goes back to regular Batgirl.
I would really like that. It's not going to be just Batgirl. They're doing Batgirl and Birds of Prey as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm hoping a lot of good will come from Rebirth. We know it's going to kind of rejoin universes. So I don't want to say high hopes, but I have hopeful expectations.
I also really want to see where Red Sun Superman shows up again.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Because we know he's around still. He didn't die in Convergence.
No, he has not.
So,
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
Have a nice week.
See you next time.